Good evening, friends. Welcome to the Leader's Edge, Episode 1, Season.
Everyone, and welcome to our weekly webcast called The Leader's Edge. We are here tonight.
Welcome to episode number 7, Season
Leader's Edge. And in our show today, which is Season 6,
Leader's Edge, Season 3, Episode 10. And
I'm Nelson T. Welcome to this super special episode of The Leader's Edge.
And this is episode 8 of season 6.
Hey guys, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world.
We are now on our season 6, episode 2. And tonight, we have an amazing and a wonderful
Welcome to our Season 7, Episode 10 with a very special guest. I have been inviting our guest speaker today for such a long time, since last year, but his hectic schedule would not allow him to be with us. So this is what we call a moment of celebration for me, because I finally got him to say yes. So our guest speaker today is well known among HR practitioners, and many entrepreneurs, not only in the Philippines, but around the world. And I can hardly wait to introduce him to you. But you know what? I want to hear, let us all welcome to the virtual stage our speaker himself and introduce himself to you. So Nick Lim, come on.
Thank you, Adina. Well, thank you for inviting me for a chat today, and it's an honor and a privilege to be able to share a part of my journey as an HR professional. Well, thankfully, I'm now semi-retired after 45 years of working in the corporate world. As you know, I've retired semi-retired in the sense last year, so that gives me enough time to balance now my life, my activity between corporate and my own personal and family life. So there, I'm excited to engage with you and share with you a bit of how I've gone through all these years in my journey as an HR professional. Because as you know, a day right after my graduation from De La Salle University, I had my job already, and I started in human resources as early as that time, and that was 1977. And since that day until today, I continue to work and been in the practice of human resource management all throughout those years until today. And today I'm doing an advisory role for a conglomerate, JG Summit Holdings Inc. That's the Gokongwei Group. And I continue to also serve as an independent director for some companies and doing some coaching and sharing a bit of my experience with our colleagues in the HR profession and our also countrymen who are leading the respective companies as entrepreneurs and in helping build a better Philippines for our countrymen, our children and grandchildren. So that's in brief me, and probably it will be interesting to later on expound further as we go on. Thanks, Dina.
Wow, thank you, Nick. I'm so happy to hear that. And by the way, Nick, who do you believe is the greatest influence of your life?
Oh, there are a number of people. The first one is, of course, my father. My father was honed me, exposed me. Well, we just chatted. Well, in my early years when I was growing as a child, as a young boy, and then when I grew up to be a professional, I had a number of colleagues and bosses who've exposed me, and some notable of them is very still much part of PMAP, who is now in his 90s, if you know him, Met Canuelas. exposed me in the early days when I was with San Miguel Corporation. Evolved myself there, and you know, it's a confluence of many other professionals that somehow I emulate as giving good examples that I can turn to as coaches, as mentors. So it's basically my bosses in the past and also my colleagues, no? Because you also get to learn from them. So it's a continuing, if you want to say it, journey for learning. My sheer curiosity to to learn, I think brought me to many people. So I cannot just simply name one, but the one that really resounded to me, or resounded to me, is my father and Metcanuelas. Of
Thank
course,
you. Yes.
again, it's a continuing
Yes.
journey of learning.
Yeah. I was struck by one word, and that word, this particular word you said earlier, I noticed that also has been the mantra of really successful people. And the word that you mentioned is curiosity, because other people stop learning. I mean, it's like up to a certain point in their lives, no, they study and they really work hard, and then up to a certain point in their lives, they feel like, I know everything now. I don't want to. That's it. But what struck me most about what you have just revealed about yourself is that you want to continue learning. At the same time, you don't want to stop working, which means that you are, in other words, you are not a candidate for Alzheimer's, or you know what I mean, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, because these diseases strike people, as they become senior and all, because I have a feeling what contributes to it is not just the age, but when people really stop, their minds, their brain don't work anymore. So that, for another thing that I want for you to reveal to the audience, Nick, no, is what was it that made you, because there are also other successful executives like you, but well, of course they have their own stories, but what made you so loyal that you stayed on? You stayed on for many years with the JG Summit. I mean, what was it that really, there must be reasons for that, Nick. What made you stay on for such a long time?
Yeah, let me respond to that, Dina, in this manner. No, when I was in high school, I was in the seminary. I thought I wanted to become a priest. But during that time, as they say, jokingly, the women then had a fashion of having their mini skirts 5 inches above their knees, and I was telling myself, in a few years' time, I may not be able to keep up with the vow of celibacy, because by then, the fashion for women may no longer be, just 5 inches above their knees, and it may just be 2 pieces of, clothes. So just kidding. But I'm the eldest in the family, so my father wanted me to be an entrepreneur to help him because he was a businessman. So I landed studying, pursuing my college studies in De La Salle University. So we were the first co-ed batch in 1973. And at that time, part of the curriculum was to expose ourselves to impoverished communities. So we were at Leverisa, around that area in Pasay, and I was struck by the community. That was I was saying, there's why are there so many poor people in our country? So I said, I may not be pursuing the vocation of being a priest, but I can be pursuing the same thing, being a layman. So it was clear to me as early as when I was in college what I wanted to become. And the closest profession next to priesthood is being in HR, human resources. So I then, as early as that time, saw HR as my vocation. And I said, I guess the famous adage that says, find a job that you love most doing, and you will never have to work a day in your life. So in a great sense, human resources has become part of my life. It is not a career. It is not just a profession. It is part of my life. It is part of giving. It is part of my advocacy to help contribute in making people better. And because of that, to your point of how come I've stayed that long in the field, it's because of that passion and love for my profession. And when you love what you do, you don't feel like you're working, no? Every day, and you wake up in the morning excited because you're gonna pursue your vocation. So, and vocation, passion, goes with it curiosity for learning. And when you're curious, you get to be humble. You get to approach anybody and just emulate, just copy, and get the best coaches and mentors that you can. And the labor of the fruits of your labor, in my case, has become the recognition that led me to corporations like San Miguel Corporation, Kraft Foods, JG Summit, and the upward movement, the promotions that I got were all consequences of that loving my profession, that having that passion for human resources management. So it's really being, authentic and sincere to what you want, and you don't have to worry about recognition and rewards because it will come as a consequence. It is not the objective.
Yeah, yes. So Nick, what would you consider as what we call, there must be significant highlights, because now you're already, shall we say, semi-retired, and you have become advisor, consultant, coach. But during your active corporate work, what would you consider as the highlights of your work back then?
Highlights? Well, with all due prudence, I have reached the highest level when I was in San Miguel, being the head of human resources of this whole San Miguel Brewing Group. This is for the flagship business of San Miguel, in charge of both domestic and international. And I stayed there for 21 years. No? I retired in that role in 1999. So that was then the biggest conglomerate in the country. And I'd like to say that I've been very much part of making that happen. And then from there, when I retired in 1999 at the age of 43, I was only 43 then, I moved to a global conglomerate, which is part of the Altria Group, which is Kraft Foods International. Kraft Foods, I had a regional role as the head of human resources based in the Philippines, a Filipino, leading 16 countries all across Asia Pacific. So again, somehow I would like to say that I've managed getting the Filipino brand of leadership exported to those countries where Kraft was around, and impacting the quality of the Filipino talent, including human resources. Kraft Foods is an American company, but here there I was a Filipino looking after the whole region of Southeast Asia, responsible for 16 countries. I retired. I left Kraft because I was being expatriated to Singapore, and I already lived as an expat when I was in San Miguel, based in Hong Kong for a while. So I ended moving to URC, Universal Robina Corporation. This is owned by Mr. John Go Hongwei and his son Lance. And Lance said that he wanted me, so since I was then at the time also in the board of PMAP, and I wanted to take part in somehow getting PMAP to push an agenda for nation building, hoping that we would be able to get to the doorsteps of Malacanang and be able to influence Malacanang to adopt an HR agenda for nation building. we almost succeeded, but sadly, it was not, it did push through. So I ended instead of joining URC, which is to me then was an epitome of the Philippine, potentials of the potential of Philippine companies that can be made great. So I stayed there. I left. I joined the URC in 2004, and in less than 3 years' time, I think Lance saw what I did, because he said my mandate was to put up the level of sophistication of URC in the practice of human resources at par with the other more progressive companies of JG Summit. But I think in 2007, with all due respect, I was able to reverse that trend and got URC to be now trailblazing and leading the rest of the JG Summit group in the practice of human resources management. And I think to that point, Lance wanted me to replicate what I've done in URC across all the companies of JG Summit. So he got me up to my role as the Senior Vice President of the Go Hong Wei Group or JG Summit in 2008. And the rest is history, as you all know. As you know, the companies now of JG Summit in many sense are blue chip companies. You have Cebu Pacific, Robinson's Land, Robinson's Retail Holdings Inc., URC, and a lot more. And we've grown the companies of the group to where they are today. So I've been with the Go Hong Wei Group for the last going 18 years now. And I think with pride, the Go Hong Wei Group is very much part of also helping build a better Philippines for our countrymen and our children. So in the long short, that's the story behind how I've journeyed across all those companies, and it's been a very interesting ride for me. And now I sit as an advisor for the group, making sure that the transition to the next generation has been effectively carried out smoothly and
Yes,
done.
yes. That is, for me, you have led a really significant career. Now, Nick, are there certain person or persons that you mentored and have succeeded as a result of your mentoring, and that you would like to, if you want to, can you share with us? Oh.
Yeah, there are many of them. To name a few, you have Felix Lopez, who is now the VP for HR of Cebu Pacific, whom I hired at the age of 26. So he's exponentially, grown very fast. I also hired in San Miguel Archie Sabado, who is now the group head of HR of Jollibee Group Global. Philbert Barba, I hired him into San Miguel, and he's now the head of HR of ABS-CBN. And you have Ringo Morelia, who is now based in Canada, who's head of HR of I think Mid Johnson. So those just are some of the few others to name a few. Ruth Angeles, who is with Jollibee. You have Chantel Cortez, who just won the Employee of the Year award in PIMAP, who is now the HR VP of Splash Corporation. And there are so many others. You have the head of HR of Grab, John Kalika, and many others. I cannot memorize all of them, but these are people who have somehow been part of my team in my past employment life.
Yes, that is, for me, some of the most fulfilling moments of a successful executive like you is also the lives, looking at the lives that you have touched so positively. Now, Nick, because this is how life is, there's no 100% always happy moments. Would you recall some of the more, shall we say, frustrating, difficult moments during your corporate work that left an imprint also on you, and our viewers can learn from you how you got over it, and please share with us.
That's a very interesting question, Dina. You know, as a human resource professional, you act as a bridge, you act as a conscience um, of the organization. And when you talk organization, you know it refers to the leadership, the owners, the talents, and the people in general. No? So in that sense, you need to be able to help transform, manage change, lead and manage change. And sometimes change that happens is not popular. You can have some detractors, you know, who would just resist change. No? But so long as you remain as authentic, you are capable, you know exactly how the process works, and you're upfront and transparent, you will weather all of those challenges. No? The personalities and the characters of people will in due time, with the patience and perseverance, steadfastness, and the capability of just sheer carrying out the needed change that has to happen, will eventually lead those detractors to realize that there's much to share, and if it impacts them somehow at a certain point in time, they have to make a choice whether to stay or be elsewhere outside of the group. So that to me is a test of character of an HR professional. So long as your intentions and your motive are pure and noble, and it is not about yourself, promoting yourself. It is not about the ego that you want to be focused on, but it's more of be giving. It is more contributing. It's more sharing. And as I said, you become authentic and sincere about it, and you're fair. As they say, everything will just seek its natural level. And people will learn to accept it, and those who cannot dance and live with it will just have to make a choice. It is not you making the choice for them. It is them who will have to make the choice, because change is inevitable. And as an HR professional, many are eloquent in terms of talking about the strategies. Well, strategies are good, but to me, I have a bias for execution. And execution really means the symbiosis among leaders, business, and people. And I would always say this famous adage that behind every business issue is a people issue. And behind every people issue is a leadership issue. So in that sense, the role of human resources professional is that of ensuring that the leadership of the organization is equipped with the right skill set, mindset, and heart set, because they will take care of the people that would make things happen for the business. And that's the agenda, that's the mandate, and that's the vocation that I've chosen to pursue all these 45 years. So in a sense, it becomes part of nation building, it becomes part of community building. It goes beyond just the HR profession. So it becomes a very interesting life, because it's inevitably it's inextricably linked to my life. I've made it part of my life.
Yes. So Nick, I'm sure you must have also met some what we call difficult personalities, of course, in your long years of working. So can you recall one or two, with maybe you don't have to name them, particularly what we call gave you such a hard time in your years of being a leader? People who you have treated fairly and well, and yet their personality are so sometimes really just so difficult to handle. And how did you finally handle it?
Managing people, managing change, managing situations requires a lot of self-awareness about yourself. As they say, you cannot give what you don't have. So everything starts with having that self-awareness of yourself, your own idiosyncrasies, your own development needs, your own realities. So that in that sense, you become conscious about the level of your capability. So to me, again, what I'm lucky to share is that I've learned much earlier in my life because of my curiosity. So that down the line in the subsequent years, it became to me already as a matter of a hobby, getting to impact people. The way I view people, difficult people, I look at them as opportunities for getting them to be righteous, getting them to be good. So it does not, I don't look at it as a difficulty at all, because if you know yourself, you know your motivation, you know your capability, these are stimuli that if you get affected so much, it would affect your health, it would affect your emotion, it would affect your total well-being. No? So if you learn, if you know how to deal with them, you know how to manage the process that would lead them to change, then it becomes it's not a difficulty to me. It is an interesting opportunity. I see it though. So there is no such person as difficult to deal with. We make our choices. We make our choices. It depends on how you view, how you feel about these people, and if you know them and they need to understand situations that are confronting them, then you become part of their life in terms of making it happen for them, making them realize what they may not see.
Yes.
You have such thing as the Johari window, as things that people know that you don't know, or things that you know that people don't know about you. Those things. So it's not a difficulty; it's an opportunity to me. But again, of course, if you're not exposed to those types of people, then it becomes a struggle. It becomes a pain. No? But in my case, I think I've reached that point where it's all part of living. It is all part of our society. It's all part of our community. It's part of our organization.
So, Nick, because of all the how many what we call years of knowledge and skills that you have accumulated, I wonder now, when I believe it could be the right time, or within the next few months or years, for you to really also allot some time to putting it down on paper. And I would love to see that day when it will be in a book. All those wonderful lessons that you have learned along the way, the roads that you have traversed in your long career path.
Yeah, thanks, Dina. Many of my friends have said the same thing. Probably when the time comes and I'll have more time sitting down writing it up, then I'll do so. Hopefully it can serve as an inspiration for our
Yes.
Yeah, probably sometime soon. Yeah.
Yes. Now, Nick, just for the sake of, because I know this will trigger some deep motivation on your part, can you very quickly just think of a title in case, okay, in the next few weeks or what, I'll be able to write this book. What would be a good title?
Living my full life as a person and as a professional. I think that could be.
Yeah, right. Yes.
I'm going to talk about my life. I am not going to talk about how you should live your life, because we have our own lives to live. But it's sharing my life, probably for people. It's their choice whether they want to use it as an example or emulate it.
What I feel is the biggest, for me, the differentiator between you and other also successful executives is that many of them had to, what we call, job hop. That, like, in a few years they are here, and then another few years they are there, and the way I see it, you, by being true and loyal, you stayed on. as a matter of fact, you even grew stronger and better, and your influence really reached the top. You not only rose to the top as an HR professional, but also as what we call your what your life itself. It really, and the influence that you had on people, it just keeps on growing. So Nick, I'm sure that our viewers at this moment would want to hear what would be a direct counsel or words of wisdom from you on, maybe some of them right now are vacillating on whether to accept a job offer or go abroad or do something else with their life, going to be. Can you just please leave us with some words of wisdom?
Dina, my principle in life and my philosophy is, I've never made who my employer is or was as a condition for my continued employment in, professional, life. They say there are two types of employees. No? The employee who is hired and just does what the position description would expect that employee to do. The second one is an employee who, because of the value that employee brings into the organization, is able to create a role for himself. I'm more of that second person because I love my job, I love what I'm doing, I love my profession. So therefore, because of the value that I bring into the organization, the experience, my being authentic, building on my credibility, and then the desire of my bosses to keep me, they are, they create a role for me that continues to recognize my being part of the organization. And for as long as that happens, and you continue to add value to the organization that you belong to, then you become part of transforming that organization. You don't become a victim. You don't become a free rider. I get to be taking an active part in making things happen for the organization. That's why I tend to stay long. I've been in the three major companies, and I've really made a lot of, with all due respect and prudence, somehow humility, contribution to the growth of this conglomerates. No? So my view is, love what you do. Don't copy what others do, because you're not the others. You have your own identity. You have your own character. You have your own personality, and just take advantage of that opportunity wherever you're employed. You don't have to worry about the career, because they will come as a consequence. I don't know if I said it right, but that's me. I don't. Why go abroad and be like all the other Filipinos when you can be abroad, or you can do what others do, being an executive, being a leader. So again, it's aligning your mindset, your heart set, and your skill set.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Oh, I like that. Yes, that is, yes,
Yeah.
yes. That resonates. That resonates with me, and I'm sure with viewers as well. Nick, because of the times we are in now, well, for most people, it's not that easy to get a job, and for HR practitioners and professionals, it's not also that easy to choose who among them to get. So what are these certain qualities that an HR professional would be looking for, and that the person who wants to get hired would like to develop, so that he also gets hired during these really difficult times?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Dina. The COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated the digitalization of the world, in many sense. Inevitably, because of the need to do work from home and work on site. So there is now a hybrid of work, looking at the future of work. So there's a lot of agility expected and required. So therefore, the talents that are most needed today, and inevitably will have to be the talents of the future are what we call as digital talents. You got to be a digital talent to be able to do your work with agility, with flexibility, and you can do it virtually just about anywhere else. In fact, talents now can be hired regardless of where you live around the world, because you can do it online. You're digitally connected. So that's the kind of talent that would be most sought out for, and the ability to iterate, collaborate, ideate, ways of working will be much sought out. And the so-called multi-generational ages of talents now would no longer be it would no longer be a matter of concern, because even if you are at your even if you're a baby boomer, so long as you can still work virtually and you can be agile, then you have a chance of still prolonging your employment. And I think that's the challenge now of many organizations and many CHROs, how to develop digital talents, how to engage them, and how to retain them and make sure that they continue to contribute to the achievement of your organization's purpose, values, and ambition, better known as the PVA. Adjusts and transform the organization towards that becoming of a digital organization with the new ways of working, which is an agile. As you know, gone are the days where boxes of positions are created in organization structures. We're now talking of tribes and squads of cross-functional digital talents working on projects in a very nimble, agile, collaborative, iterative process. So the leader, the CHRO, is able to develop that leadership, or that leader who can, bring about that kind of a talent and that kind of an environment where people to open up because transparency, being upfront in a psychologically safe environment will have an advantage over the other organizations.
Oh wow! Yes. And that helps. That helps a lot. And for the viewers out there who are in the process of maybe trying to find your next employer and how you want to know how to get hired. So thank you. That helps a lot. Thank you, Nick. To the top of your career, at the same time, the influence is so high up there by just simply by being yourself. So thank you for taking time out with us, and to our viewers out there. So Nick, they can, how do they, if they get in touch with you, they can just get in touch with you through your own, you have your own, what we call, in Facebook or LinkedIn, what would be?
I'm in LinkedIn. I'm in LinkedIn. You know my number, Dina, but my mobile phone is 0917-539-8644. I'm currently also the president of the Human Resources Management Business Solutions, Inc., doing consulting work on human resources and helping entrepreneurs and CEOs. So, anyone can just contact me. Of course,
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, actually, my heart is singing right now because I learned so much just listening, interviewing you, and all. Oh, this is great. And to our viewers out there, watch out, because our next speaker will be PS Daram from Malaysia, and he will be talking about improving productivity during turbulent times. For the viewers out there, do click like and subscribe so that you get notified, and we have always something new in store for you, and very, very beneficial to everybody out there. And remember always, learning is a never-ending journey with limitless vistas. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.